This wasn't just tense, it was explosive. In a Senate hearing that spiraled out of control, Kash Patel and Senator Mazie Hirono went head-to-head in one of the most hostile FBI exchanges we've seen yet. No numbers, no names, and tempers flaring fast. Watch this carefully.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, just like the rest of the federal government, there have been significant personnel changes at the FBI since President Trump took office. I want to better understand the scope of the turnover and the changes occurring at the FBI. Since January 2025, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated from employment? I need a number.
We'll get you a number.
What is the number? You don't have it?
Not off the top of my head, and I want to get you the right number.
Would it surprise you to know that it's probably in the thousands, like 5,000?
I don't think that number's accurate.
You don't know. Next question. How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Say, we will get you the numbers, and anyone that retires is of their own volition, and anyone that is terminated at the FBI, as I've said before, is done so because they have failed to meet the standards and uphold their loyalty and oath to the Constitution.
Yeah, so you say. Next question. How many executive assistant directors, or special agents in charge have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Again, people leaving on their own accord or terminations were done by the standards set at the FBI that have been carried out
With this question, I'm getting to the leadership of the FBI, and you don't have that answer. Next question. Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And, do you have the answer to that question?
Yeah, actually, every single field office in the country, including Hawaii, has received a plus-up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025. That's your answer?
In Hawaii, there's been a plus-up. In every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus-up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
It doesn't matter under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left. Next question.
Nope, that's not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clips. So you keep asking it. And I told you I'd get you the numbers, but you can keep asking it.
Which field office, division, or directorate has gained the most personnel since January 2025? You noted that there have been plus-ups, so which offices have received these plus-ups?
The greatest allocation that I believe was given to California and then Florida.
Where were those offices?
California and Florida.
Thank you. Director Patel, you often refer to FBI agents as cops. All of us, Democrats and Republicans, support the police officers who keep our communities safe. But while our states, cities, counties, and towns all employ police officers to protect our communities, Congress has empowered and equipped the FBI to take on missions that local police cannot, especially taking on terrorists, hackers, and spies. I'd like to assess how well the FBI is able to handle its specialized missions under your leadership. The FBI is the nation's lead federal law enforcement agency for investigating and preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Who replaced them in those positions?
Excellent qualified personnel to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone. That's twice as many
the
as
people
before.
Who took the places of
I'm not going to give you any names so you can attack them.
Why not?
So you can attack them. I'm not doing that. The
You're not
people
gonna
sitting
give
in
me the
those seats
names
are
of-
extremely qualified to handle the job. We
You're not
would
gonna
not
give
have
me
the
the names
results.
of personnel who
we would
should
not
be
have the
on your-
reduction
Right,
of
fine,
violence in the
moving
state
on.
of Hawaii if we did not allocate the
Earlier
resources we
this
did.
year, FBI counterterrorist special agents and investigators were reassigned to assist with immigration enforcement. Reportedly, these counterterrorism experts were returned to the jobs they trained for in late January after Iran threatened to retaliate for our strikes on their nuclear facilities. Have those experts remained in the jobs they trained for since that time? Yes or no?
FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they are assigned to do. We always work with our
So since they
interagency
returned to their positions,
If you're not
are
going to
they
let me
still in
answer,
those
why don't you
positions?
just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have
I
left?
am not asking for a soliloquy. It's just a yes or no. Are those people who were returned to their jobs still in those jobs? Yes or no?
They never left.
What was that?
They never left their primary job. It is a surge of resources in law enforcement working with the interagency to combat violent crime and reduce
They were
violent
never-
crime in
okay, they were never
historic
reassigned to do
proportions.
That's your testimony. Okay, Director Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and
Yes.
cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and the cyber branch and the head of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year.
It's that
So
branch,
any
Mr.
suggestion that the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators
You know
for Iran,
why
China,
they're
and
important? I
Russia.
want to know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there.
Supremely
are no longer
qualified
there.
individuals have those positions.
they?
Supremely qualified
Who
individuals.
are they? What are the names?
You're not
You
getting
don't
them.
know. Special agents who investigate cybercrime were also reassigned for immigration enforcement. Have those expert investigators returned to their duties? Yes or no?
All agents remained on their primary duties while surging to allocate resources for interagency operations to the Homeland Security task forces across this country.
So are you?
Am I what?
See, I'm not getting the yes or no answers. I get all this explanation. So there you go.
No, you get the work that
Are
the men
you
and women of the
planning
FBI are doing. And you
Any
don't want that.
additional personnel cuts to the cyber division in the future?
The only people that will be terminated at the FBI will be those that violate their oath of office or fail to meet the high standards at the FBI.
Director Patel, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism against the United States from both foreign and domestic sources. It's also our lead agency in fighting the hackers who target our businesses and critical infrastructure. But instead of a specialized role fighting these kinds of terrorists, hackers, and spies, you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. I'm going to move on to my you've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But, one question I had is that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
So are
being
you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me,
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
asked-
better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one
Anyway,
pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there are
am
always
gravely
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
I am gravely concerned by the state of the FBI under your control. And in fact, you are willing to take a cut in your agency of almost $500 million. So the FBI is losing dedicated employees, decades of expertise and specialization, leading to loss to early retirements, firings, and reassignments to immigration enforcement or conducting local police work. Thousands have already left. For as long as you remain as the head of the FBI, I fear the number of departures and summary firings will continue to grow. Mr. Patel, before the vote on your nomination of this committee, I noted that your most significant qualification, this is not just something that I noted, but others, your most significant
Actually, gets this place going.
qualification was your 100% loyalty to President Trump. And I fear that that continues to be the motivating factor in your position as FBI director. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mayor, Mr. Chairman.
Director Patel, did you have
Yes.
anything you wanted to say now?
That is an entire falsehood. You can delete my 16 years of government service to multiple administrations all you want. The fact is that I was a public defender. I was a national security prosecutor. I was a House intelligence staffer. I was a deputy director of intelligence. I was a chief of staff to the Department of Defense and the Secretary of Defense. I led the counterterrorism missions for the White House. Those are just some of the jobs I held in my 16-year career. There was no loyalty then. There's no loyalty now to anything but the Constitution.
Senator Brett.
Yes. Well, before I begin, I want to thank Senator Hirono for what she said, acknowledging that there are physical differences between men and women, talking about that women wouldn't be able to do as many pull-ups, and I think that she was making a case here that there should be different standards. There's a thing called Title IX, and this is why we continue to say we should have biological men and men's sports and biological women and women's sports. And so I look forward to utilizing that to talk to all of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Maybe they will stand with us in helping us protect women's sports. I think she made a great argument there for it. Moving on to...
This exchange was nothing short of brutal. Senator Mazie Hirono came armed with pointed questions about FBI staffing, leadership shakeups, and national security priorities, and Kash Patel came ready to stonewall. Repeated demands for basic numbers were met with deflections, accusations of political grandstanding, and outright refusals to name officials currently running critical divisions of the FBI. What